Story number 2 for this week's episode of the Rolling Stone takes us to England. We are talking about, oh boy, Megxit. Is it just me, or am I tired? I am tired, sick and tired of people taking the Brexit stamp, which was actually pretty clever when it came out in, what was that, 2015, I think? That was actually pretty clever. But now people are just using it for everything. Candace Owens has Blackxit, which, okay, that's a copy. And now we have Megxit. People, come up with a new and original name, okay? Stop just putting XIT at the end of something, red stamping it, and calling it good. Okay, but you might be wondering, Nate, what is Megxit? Okay, tell us, give us the details. What is Megxit? Megxit, my friends, is Prince Harry of the United Kingdom and his blushing bride, Meghan Markle, basically abdicating from the royal family. Okay, so basically, as you know, Queen Elizabeth is still on the throne of England, and she has her husband, Prince Philip. She has her son, Prince Charles, and his wife, Camilla, I think her name is. She's the Duchess of something. And then Charles, okay, who is the Prince of Wales. He is next in line to the throne. When Queen Elizabeth goes to her reward, Charles will become the King of England. And Charles has 2 sons from his first wife, Princess Diana, of great celebrity fame, who died in a car crash in 1997, I believe, right? So these are Queen Elizabeth's 2 grandsons. There is Prince William, and there is Prince Harry. And I'm trying to think here. William married Kate, and then Harry married Meghan Markle, who is actually an American, okay? She was in Hollywood, did some modeling. I think she might have been in a couple of movies and stuff. And then I forget all the details, but she and Harry met, they dated, and then they got married, and they even had a baby last year. Prince Archie, as he was called, or Archibald. Well, the happy royal family, the royal unit of the UK, it is now dissolving because Prince Harry and Meghan have said that they are basically leaving the royal family. They are not going to be fulfilling their duties by going to state functions and helping the Queen in whatever duties that she has. They are going to be splitting their time between the UK and Canada, and they are going to become financially independent of the royal family, basically by branding themselves. So we're going to see merchandising, and people will buy it up, obviously. Okay, now, why is this happening? Why now? Why is this happening? Well, Afua Hirsch, over at the New York Times, she made the case that Harry and Meghan were forced to do this because of, you guessed it, racism. Because wouldn't you know it, Meghan Markle happens to be mixed race. I don't know how much she is. I don't even really care. But she has some African in her. Honestly, it's something that you can't, if you're interested in that sort of thing, it's something that you can't even really tell. Okay? From looking at her. Yeah, she has a darker complexion, like some people are. She could be Italian. I mean, with that, darker complexion of skin and that dark hair that she has. She could be Sicilian, okay? It doesn't matter what it is. But Meghan Markle happens to be mixed race. And so, obviously, the answer why they had to do this, why Meghan and Harry had to leave the royal family and strike out on their own, is because of racism, okay? Now, interestingly, Afua Hirsch, this is also the woman who in 2017 said that Nelson's Column, the monument to Admiral Horatio Nelson in Trafalgar Square in London, should be taken down because it was built by white supremacists. Even though that column was created specifically to honor Admiral Horatio Nelson for defeating the French fleet at Trafalgar, which is off the coast of Spain, in 1805 during the Napoleonic Wars. Okay? Race doesn't have anything to do with it. It's a monument to a British hero who defeated the French. If you might, in case you haven't noticed, there's sort of a rivalry. There's been a rivalry for hundreds and hundreds of years between the English and the French. So that's the woman who had this great idea, this tell-all story that, obviously it's because of racism. Okay? That's why Harry and Meghan had to leave the royal family. They just couldn't take the racism that's so deeply entrenched in the UK anymore. Yeah, right. If you think that Nelson's column, a war monument to a great victory over a French Navy squadron, the French Navy, is because of white supremacism, I don't think that you are qualified to talk about race in any way, shape, or form. But that's beside the point, okay? That's this woman, and that's her argument. But James Delingpole, over at Breitbart News, he wrote this, okay? Quote, "The royal family and the British public have been at pains to make this brash newcomer," that would be Meghan, "welcome, despite her weapons-grade sense of entitlement and her apparent unwillingness to do more than the barest minimum to fit in either with royal protocol or the duties that come with the privilege of her newly acquired wealth and her rank by marriage. Most Britons were not even aware of Meghan Markle's mixed-race heritage until she and her supporters and publicists started banging on about it." Unquote. So, what have Meghan and Harry received, okay? Because to be honest, they have received criticism. But it hasn't been, race baiting. It hasn't been criticism because Meghan's, great-great-grandmother, might have been black or anything. Joanna Williams over at The Spectator reminded people why Harry and Meghan were the focus of so much criticism in the British tabloids and the British press. Joanna Williams said, quote, "They, Harry and Meghan, have been criticized for preaching about environmentalism while flying around the world in private jets. They've been criticized for extravagance. £50,000, $65,000 American dollars, engagement dresses are beyond the reach of most of us. They've been criticized for complaining that no one asked if they were okay while traveling around some of the poorest countries on earth. They've been criticized for taking public money, £2.4 million, 3.1 million American dollars, for home improvements, while not giving the public a glimpse of baby Archie's christening." And she goes on to say that this is really no more criticism or, focus than any other member of the royal family has received. It's part and parcel of the whole genie gig, right? You get phenomenal cosmic power by being part of the royal family, and then you have to pay for it not with itty-bitty living space, but with everyone looking at you like you're a bug in a jar, okay? That's just the trade-off. You're a prince, for pity's sake, or you're a princess, or you're a duchess, right? You live the kind of fairy tale life that most mere mortals can only dream about doing, okay? So, this is just the trade-off. This is you paying your dues. You're a prince, you're a princess, you're a duke, a duchess. The extra scrutiny, that's part of paying the piper. So there's that, okay? But this is something, there's something else that this story really emphasizes, really illustrates, okay? Because I actually saw a lot of people here in the US on Twitter, so maybe not hundreds and hundreds of people, but several people, some of them very prominent, saying that they didn't understand why people were so upset about Meghan and Harry leaving the royal family, right? What's wrong with being financially independent? What's wrong with not wanting to be a part of a family that's basically just a leech on the British public? Because the Queen and her family, they're basically just figureheads anymore. They don't really rule the country. They don't really have any power. They don't really make decisions. So what's the problem with this? This is a great thing, right? Democracy, self-determination, rah, 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 right? I think that that's a very shallow way of looking at it. It is a very shallow way, honestly, of looking at it, because it is true that the Queen and her family are mostly figureheads. That's basically what they've been reduced to. But that doesn't mean that they are superfluous. That doesn't mean that they aren't necessary anymore, because even though the Queen according to the custom and the tradition now that has developed. Even though Queen Elizabeth is just a figurehead, she is still a very important part, not just of the British government, but of British culture and society, because she is a focal point of unity. She, as the monarch sitting on the throne wearing the crown, she is supposed to rise above the day-to-day politics, okay? She is supposed to be a symbol of continuity, of tradition, of consistency, and of unity around which all Britons can be able to gather around. We might have different opinions, we might have different beliefs, we might be as different as black and white, fire and water, but we are all Britons. We can all say that Elizabeth II is, my queen. That's what Queen Elizabeth is supposed to do for the people of Britain, right? And she is part of a tradition that is 1,000+ years old, even if you just count the British monarchy as beginning in 1066, when William the Conqueror took over England for the last time from Harold II and the Saxons. Now, her family, the Queen's family, is supposed to help her discharge those state and public duties that emphasize her role as a symbol of unity and consistency and tradition in British identity. Okay, her family is supposed to help her. Her children, grandchildren, etc., which includes Harry, William, and their wives. Okay? So Harry and Meghan basically saying, we're leaving. We don't like the criticism. We don't really like doing state functions, because back in, when was it, 2015, when Harry and Meghan were still dating, Harry actually did an interview where he was just saying, oh boy, it's just real tough being a prince, because you've got all these responsibilities and all of these duties. And like I was saying earlier, you know what, buddy, cry me a river. We all have responsibilities. We all have duties, no matter what socioeconomic tire that we're on in society, whether you're a janitor or whether you're a prince. We all have responsibilities and duties. No one is supposed to get a free ride. A responsibility-free existence doesn't exist. People can live like they have no responsibilities. It always comes to bite them on the foot, bite them on the heel sooner or later, okay? So this move to basically wash your hands of any and all responsibilities that you have due to your position in life and your position in this particular society, it's not a blow for self-determination. It's not trying to be financially independent. It's not trying to reform the monarchy, good or bad, right? That's another conversation entirely, whether the monarchy needs to change or whether it needs to be abolished. I would actually say no. But what this is a clear example of the abdication of responsibility in our culture, in Western society's culture of atomistic individualism, where if I don't like something, I should be able to change the rules, right? Just arbitrarily on my own. This is not making me happy. This is not making me feel fulfilled. This is not how I thought life was supposed to go. And therefore, heck with tradition, heck with continuity, heck with my responsibilities and duties as a freaking prince. I am hightailing it to the hills, right? I still want to call myself a prince. I still want to have the glamour and the prestige. I still want the money because I want to be able to market myself as a prince of the royal family so that people will buy my stuff. But I actually don't want the responsibilities. I want all the freedom. I want all the good stuff. I want all the goodies. I don't actually want the responsibilities and the duties that come with it. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they're so easy to do. Anyone can do it. I'm sure there's a lot of ceremony. There's a lot of ritual. I'm sure that these things are very boring. I'm sure like most celebrities, it can be very taxing. It can also be very wearing. Okay, I'm not going to say that this is the easiest job in the world. Probably not. But again, every right, every freedom, every good thing comes with responsibilities. And just deciding that you can get rid of the responsibilities and keep all the nice things, sign of atomistic individualism. It is also something else. It is the rise of cheap celebrity-like publicity. Okay? Meghan Markle is a product of Hollywood and American woke progressive culture. Sad to say. And now she has infected the royal family with this. We are really seeing the end of the royal family, of royalty almost, as royalty, as meaning everything. This is why, even though I'm an American, and I am very glad that we kicked off the British in 1776 because I'm a diehard revolutionary and American, General Washington all the way, Britons who call him the Great Traitor still, well, you know what they can do with themselves. But it is sad and sobering to think that Queen Elizabeth, when she dies, she will be kind of the end of an era, because she is one of the last living Western monarchs who really sees the crown and the throne as, again, a responsibility and a duty. It's not just the equivalent of being Robert De Niro, Jane Fonda, Joaquin Phoenix, right? You're not a Hollywood celebrity. You are part of something that is much bigger than yourself. And it's not even just in entertainment. It's not even like show business or things like that. I mean, it is a vital part, a living part of your country's history and culture and identity. And you are an integral part of that. She understands that. I think that she has always understood that. Talking about Queen Elizabeth, when she dies, I don't know if that sense is going to pass on to anyone else in her family. Which is, I mean, just a very, very sad thing to see, especially the historian in me. And there's one other thing. This is the elites really showing that they don't think that the press should hold them accountable to anything, which is deeply ironic, because here in the States, what have we heard since 2016? The press is the bastion of democracy. We need the press. The press is the only thing that's going to keep us safe. So Donald Trump saying that the press is the enemy of the people, oh my God, it's terrible, right? He is sowing so much fear and division and crumbling the institutions that we need to keep us safe. It's monstrous. It's terrible. Over here, you have people cheering Harry and Meghan for basically saying the press shouldn't have been criticizing us. We should be above reproach. We should not have legitimate, again, criticisms directed at us because we're royalty. We are above all that. We're better than you. Which is, again, the exact opposite of what real royalty is supposed to be, which is, again, kind of the servant of the people. There's a great line in the last book of the Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander called The High King, where the High King says, while a shepherd's staff, props you up, a crown bears down upon you, burdens you. And that sense is gone now. That sense is gone. People think that it's all fun and games, no responsibilities, no criticisms. I'm the boss. That's not really a kingship. That's not a good kingship. That's an enlightened despot. And if history has told us anything, more often than not, those enlightened despots of 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries were some of the biggest scumbags who ever walked the earth, at least in the courts of Europe. But anyway, that is story number 2 about Megxit.